Good morning, B. How you
Good morning.
doing?
Doing good. How you doing, sweetie?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Good. Got some good sleep?
Did I or did
Yeah,
you?
I did. I
You
got good
did?
sleep. I did. I did.
Whoa.
I mean, relatively, you know. I
Yeah.
slept good.
Better than before, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I've been good the last couple of days. I've been sleeping pretty well. Pretty well. Last 2, maybe 3 days I've been sleeping pretty good. Um, but yeah, no, I went to bed at a decent hour. I actually got sleepy kind of early and then slept a little bit, woke up, showered, prayed, and
I don't mean to
read.
cut you off, but don't forget because I don't want it to cut off over there on
Oh yeah,
Instagram. So I just sent it to you.
okay, thank you,
Uh,
sweetie.
I'm glad to hear that because I've been praying for and praying and praying. Yeah. So I mean, in my prayer, I remember when you were going through so much fatigue and all that, and just doing too much. Um, I just heard God's voice say he need rest. He needs to rest. He needs to rest. So I've been praying that you get it. So
Thank thank you, thank
I'm
you, thank
praying
you.
that you get it. Yeah, rest is so important, you guys. It does. It's like you have to have it in your proportion, but we have to have it. Some people
Right, and
function
I
well
don't
off
need
of
as
2 hours.
much as everyone else. I won't say everyone else, but like I don't need as much as say my wife. You know, she needs a good bit of sleep, and women in general need more sleep than men. Men tend to sleep less than women, um, statistically. But I still need some sleep. I can't be like,
Yeah,
oh, okay.
exactly.
You know, I read that. I was like, oh, well, I'm good. I'm gone. You know, no, I need to still get my hours in as much as I can. And if I can't, when I don't get sleep at night, I need to take a nap. I do. I love midday naps. That I think that's what did it for a while. Where I was like, oh, I don't really need that much sleep because I was getting naps in the middle of the day, and then I started deleting the naps and working through them and still sleeping the same, kind of
Yeah,
shorter hours. So it's been good though. It's been good. Got some good sleep last night. But
yeah.
welcome everybody to the 133rd day of the In the Season podcast, where we go through the book Daily Motivations for African American Success. As people come into the chat room, um, just wanted to make sure that anybody that's new here knows exactly what we're doing, um, and why we're here. So we started reading Daily Motivations for African American Success as a acknowledgement and celebration of Black History Month, and we were only supposed to go to the short 28 days of Black History Month in February, but on that 29th day, on that 1st of March, we kept it pushing and have been pushing ever since. They said if you, you know, what was it? Was it successful to start from scratch or
Hmm.
like something like start from scratch and keep scratching?
Keep
Well, we
scratching.
we kept scratching. So we are here today. So let me, while people go in the chat, we got anything you want to say about people in the chat or who's coming in?
Yeah, Miss
Oh,
Brenda's in. She says, "Yay, we're back! Good everything, everybody." So yeah, yesterday for whatever reason it didn't. I got some kind of message from through StreamYard about something new Facebook is doing that you have to have some. All of these things are required in order to go live, and it's kind of. I don't know. I'll just have to dig more into it. I maybe it's kind of vague to me because I didn't read it, but
yeah.
seems like we're here today, and apparently, like you have to have so many followers and things like that, and
What?
um,
To go live?
yeah, I need to send it to you,
Yeah.
so you can read it because I'll be like some BS and I'll put it
He's
down.
out, man, mama. You took the words out of my mouth. I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
it's a whole thing, and it was only one thing that I felt that I didn't know if I met, and it was, and then even when I went there, it didn't tell me to do anything, and it just to me it didn't make sense. But the followers and things like that, you have to be on Facebook a certain length of time and that kind of thing. Like since you've been on the Facebook account, so I imagine that's what it was about. Nonetheless, they should have, no problem. They should have let the people know before they were just not going to let you go live that day. That being said, in my thought process this morning, y'all know my mornings are my processing time, and um, I was just like, you know what? my spirit was just like people have shown up, and what came to mind was the not Burger King, Backyard Burger. Those people showed up to work, here in Memphis, and they didn't have a job. They were closed.
Mm,
They didn't tell them, and that's happened a lot of places. So, who am I to fret about Facebook? We did it, and we've said continuously, um, if we're not that we're going to be here. So, if we're not here, then always check on YouTube. YouTube doesn't seem to shoot the stuff right for now, but it's just empowering me or motivating me to maybe even get an app to where we can do our thing and not even deal with this. Because you just never know. It could be gone like that. And so you need a, I'm going to make sure I have a spare before the tire goes flat. I'm going to make sure. And what was the thing about the water? Before I become that's what it was. I think I just said my thing. What was it about before I come third? Before today, I will dig my well before I'm thirsty.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
gonna dig my well. I'm gonna dig my well. I'm not gonna be fooling with this foolishness, this control in what we say a land of the free.
Censorship,
We ain't
right?
free. We
Freedom.
ain't free. We ain't free. If I can go, I'm paying for this services. If I can go and not be able to do, if I not be able to do something because you want to change this and that, um, for the sake of only you without no warning, I'm not free. And really, I don't even want to be on your platform. So take that. Take me out tomorrow too. That's how I feel about it. You just gonna empower me to do what I do sooner. Do what I need to do sooner. And that's
Right.
how we all start looking at it. If people can show up to work and the doors are closed, do I think they give a damn about taking me out for a day? No. That's
No,
people's
it's easy to
livelihood.
'em. It's easy to them. Yep. So
Yeah, because we can start having a real barbecue and talking about one barbecue, you talk about the whole 30 days. Think about that. So, hey, it is what it is. Might have a real motivation barbecue.
for
How
real,
about that? Once a
let's do
month,
it.
and do it all. Let's read over these 30 days. Take it home, do what you got to do. So, that's how I feel about it. KL says, there y'all are. KL, I don't know if you got that message yesterday. Did you go to YouTube and listen yesterday? Mike, did you go? Or did y'all like get lost and just turn around? Did you was like, oh no, I'm hungry. I done got dressed, put my clothes on. I'm going to this. I'm finding this barbecue. Y'all didn't get the memo that we moved yesterday. But if you didn't get it, did you look for it? Because I tagged you guys. I tagged you guys yesterday to let you know that we were on. So did y'all hear the show yesterday? Let me know that. Miss Brenda, I know you did because you replied. So thank you. Thank you for that. Mike said yes, he was on YouTube. So thank y'all for rocking with us like that. And Brandon and I are gonna work on making sure we get it to the point where I think I messed up. I put it was for children and that means you can't comment or something. So we'll get that
Yeah.
worked out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if anybody, any others, mom, before I jump into it?
Um, Not in the comment section. So if you guys are there, drop a note. Let us know you're out there.
Cool, cool, cool. Well,
I
welcome
see more
everybody. If
people out
you're
there, but no comments.
okay, okay. If you're tuning in from Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or Instagram Live, thank you. I don't know if you're here for a long time, but I hope while you're here, you have a good time. For the people that have been here every single day, we appreciate you, and we know that you've already gotten the book, Daily Motivations for African American Success. If you haven't, do that. Do that. I can't say it enough. A little bit about this book. I'm not going to read this verbatim today. I just think the people that are here have heard it so much, and I think it's great. What do you think, Mom? You think I should just read it verbatim every day, or can I just go through it? What do you think?
I like it verbatim because
You
it's
do?
it's it's the it's like the plate that holds the food that
I,
we do.
okay, okay. I was thinking I
And
was
some
going
people
back
may not have heard it.
at
We
all.
got to take care of our new people. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. All right. So
Yeah.
if you have heard this, sit tight. You probably haven't memorized. If you haven't, listen up. Daily Motivations for African American Success will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. And 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year. Dennis Kimbro, author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and to look inward for answers to life's challenges. Each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Edelman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year, but what it teaches will last you a lifetime. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And good morning, everyone.
How are our peeps over off on Instagram?
Oh, they're good. They're
Anybody
good. We got
anybody
people
said
coming
good
in.
morning over there?
Yeah. We got Raina's mama who came in. He's
Raina's
been coming
mama.
to the show. Yeah, he's been coming into the show. Appreciate you. Misty has came in, and then Tori or Tort White um, has come in. So got a couple here today, and I
Good
think a
morning.
few more coming in. A couple people told me that they would be coming in to see it today, and then one person said they'd be a little late, but they would come in. So I expect to see them. And thank y'all all for joining. So that's what we do here, y'all. We just go through one passage a day. We read the quote at the top up here, and then we read the passage, and then it's followed by an affirmation or an encouragement at the end. Usually a one-liner that we read 3 times, just to make sure that it settles into our conscious, subconscious, and it's something that we carry with us for the rest of the day. So that's it. You want to jump into it, Mo?
Let's jump into it.
All right. So today is June 12th. So let's see what our title is today. Okay. The title for today is Roll, Jordan, Roll.
Roll,
Roll,
Jordan,
Jordan,
roll.
roll.
We're
River
here.
Jordan? Huh?
Are you on June 12th? Oh,
I went
baby.
to July 12th, baby. June 12th.
Roll back, Jordan. Roll
Roll
back.
back, Jordan.
I'm like, wait, did I mess up again? Because y'all know I will change some words on y'all.
I went to July. I thought it was. I
And
thought it
say,
was.
roll, Jordan, roll. I'm like, what?
My
But get
next one.
this, for those who don't have the book and don't read, only person probably knew is maybe Miss Brenda or Mike if they had read, before. They wouldn't have known.
I thought it said June, but like some of my Mexican friends tell me July. July.
July.
He said thought it was
July.
June, but
Eli.
July.
Eli.
But okay. June 12th is titled Stretch Marks. Stretch marks, y'all. Stretch marks. Okay. I ain't got none of those. And our quote comes from our quote comes
Right. Look,
from
I got a few because of you.
hey. I didn't make myself, I was given this world, I ain't make it. But our distinguished African American who gives us a quote today is from A.Z. Taylor Morton, the first African American treasurer of the United States. First African American treasurer of the United States, A.Z. Taylor Morton said, "A problem not worth praying about is not worth worrying about."
Hmm.
Wow.
Read it again.
Right? A problem not worth praying about is not worth worrying about. Wow. According to most medical experts, the things that create stress are called stressors. There are 2 types of stressors: internal and external. An external stressor can be a phone call at 10 p.m. from a collection agency demanding a payment. Internal stressors arise from circumstances that you create. Picture a situation where someone calls you and says he needs to meet you to discuss something quite urgent. By the time you meet with him, you imagine every conceivable thing that could be wrong. At the conclusion of your meeting, you find that all those terrible possibilities were much worse than the actual problem. Your imagination became your enemy because you fed it negative thoughts, and it responded in a like manner. You can be your own worst enemy when it comes to stress. You can create internal stressors in your life. Stress can also work the other way, especially when you underestimate the severity of a problem. For example, suppose you are transferred into a new department on your job. For some reason, you're expecting things to be easy, but your new assignment takes more work than you anticipated, and along with it comes more pressure and aggravation. This is also true of the way you talk about your circumstances. Sometimes your talk can be so negative that you create additional stress. In other words, you stretch your stress. If you were just to deal with your problem openly and positively, you'd solve it. But if you continually talk about it in a negative manner, you'll stretch your stress and make your situation worse. Wake up. Don't stress yourself out. And the affirmation that we read 3 times today, every day, one time for me, one time for you, and one time for the person that you invited to the barbecue, is don't stretch your problems out of proportion. The affirmation today is don't stretch your problems out of proportion. So maybe I do got some stretch marks, baby. Don't stretch your problems out of proportion. All right. So that's it for today. That is the affirmation. Don't stretch your problems out of proportion. Mom, over to you. What do you think about this? I like this one.
I do too. So let's start at the top here, right? Stretch marks. A problem not worth praying about is not worth worrying about. Um, I want to add a few words. I want to substitute a few words for worrying. A problem not worth praying about is not worth talking about, thinking about, right? Yesterday, and this is again, I don't want to keep saying how this book is so relevant. Like y'all, I mean, it's scary sometimes as you're reading this today. I'm like, man, just talking about this, and
Same.
started to post this post. Um, don't talk today because you'll talk yourself into problems. Just be quiet. That's what I wanted to post. Don't because we will get so caught up. You could be like, you could be talking about a beautiful day. Man, yesterday was this and that and da 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 da. Yeah, but you know it rained yesterday. Can we stay in the beauty? Can we stay in the beauty? And if you think about it, rain's not so bad. It's needed. So man, this kind of wraps the plate. This just makes you want y'all wrap the plate up and go home. Eat it in the center of your house somewhere alone and just let it simmer in your soul. A problem not worth praying about is not worth worrying about. So for the problems for your listeners today, the problems that you think you have you prayed about them? Have you prayed about them? Think about the ladies who need to go out and beat dirt and trees up and pay to do that. To me, foolishness. I'm just gonna call it for me, and I can't tell you how to do what you need to do. But I wonder if you prayed about it. Matter of fact, that was one of the conversations back and forth between Chris and I on Facebook about, I wonder if they just, because this is likely their children's father, right? Brandon, are you on mute?
I think I was. I was saying, let them know. Let them know what that. Back it up a little bit and tell them what happened with the ladies.
So
Um,
there's a post on Facebook going around about you can a group of ladies that paid to go out in the wilderness and beat on dirt, trees, whatever they wanted to beat up out there to release the anger they had for their spouses, or they said spouses, husbands. And it just looked a little, I don't know. And I get it, y'all. We can't tell people what to do, but people come up with some of the most foolish to me things, and y'all buy into it. Have you just thought to sit down? Because if you're that angry, and somebody had put on there that if they put more energy, maybe if they had put more energy in the marriage, they wouldn't have to do that. Because I don't care how angry you are with a woman or a man, it's not all them. The reason you're angry is not just about them. You got some stretch marks that you've stretched into that relationship. And the other person may be just as angry as you, just as angry. So, what are your stretch marks? Where did they come from? And think about if you have what when people have stretch marks, they're trying to get rid of them. They buy the cream. Some people go to the doctor, da da da. But when we have problems, I saw another post. Put your problems in God's hand. Miss Beverly Coates put it out there, and I thought, wow, this is. I've heard that so many times, but it took me deeper. If you put it in His hands, those problems, whatever it is, don't keep going back saying, God, let me see your hands. You still got my problem in there? What you gonna do? When are you gonna do it? And we do that through our thought process, through our worrying. I had a friend tell me a long time ago, if you worry about something, or if you're worrying about something and it happens, your worry was still for nothing. If you worry about something and it doesn't happen, your worry was still for nothing. Because your worrying did not project, it did not change. It was going to happen. So if it didn't happen, it didn't happen what's going to happen. If it happened, happened what's going to happen. You just worried. And think about the phone call. Man, we will have and I'm good at this now. Like I will have a whole book written in my head about a situation. And then the situation, it's a whole different kind of book. My stuff is in a cooking book, and it was a war book. It was a war story, right? Because you go there, and it talks about the imagination, which is what we talked about the other day. Your imagination became your enemy. Man, Brandon, your imagination became your enemy because you fed it negative thoughts. What are you feeding your imagination? If you didn't hear the imagination, the one that we talked about, imagination, a few days ago, you have to go back and look at that one yourself. But I'll turn it over to you so I don't get windy here. I have some more and I'll bring it back later.
No, you all good, mom. People in my chat were just saying, Raina's mama said, your mama speaks facts. I genuinely love listening to her every day. And then Allie Bounce, one of my homegirls from years ago, back when I was in college, like 2009, says she's preaching though. Good reminder. So people are loving. So if you feel like going long, you go ahead, mama. Ain't nobody stopping
Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. And I'm telling you, I just have to keep saying this because I don't ever want anybody to think that I'm not fighting the same battle, that I'm not running the same marathon. That's what we'll call it, marathon. And
you.
with the marathon, y'all, we're all running it. It's just the start line, the way that we start or where we start, I believe is all the same, but with what do we bring when we gear up for the marathon? It's like keeping an open marathon going, and there are people always coming up to the start line. And once they're ready to go, boom, that boom is just for you, for those who are ready to go. Or perhaps we're already there, but are we ready to run? Are we ready to scratch and keep scratching? Right? Are we ready to imagine what it is that we want? Bring it forth. Right? And then are you ready to run? That's the work. And then there are people, if people started 10 years ago, right? And then you come up on today and your gun goes off for you. You're boom, you take off. Don't try to catch up. Run your own pace. If you know your brother is up there because your brother sister started 10 years ago, and they've made their stops. They've stopped when they needed to stop to drink, to eat, to sleep, right? But don't try to catch up. Don't try to run their pace, run yours. And if you catch up to them, you know what that means? You ran your pace and they slowed down. They slowed down. So this is your race. This is your true goals. This is your learning when to say yes and when to say no. This is your building your character. Because it tells us here, if there's any power that can reverse the fortunes, odd word, fortunes of race. It is character. So at the end of the day, y'all, it ain't about nothing else. It's about you. It ain't about what your mama said or did to you. It ain't about what your daddy didn't say or didn't do for you. It's not about Uncle Nim, Auntie Nim, your job Nim, the jobs that you've had. It's not about that. It talks about a job here, and I felt some kind of way about that one. You know, we get a blessing, and we've talked about that here as well, Brandon. We get a blessing, and as soon as something, if God, let's use a job. If God blesses you with a job, I mean, truly, you know that it's not anything that you went after, right? Um, I'm gonna go ahead and share. This is a personal one for me, right? I literally had a job drop into my lap, and there came a moment where I started to, and this is recent, like I had to recheck myself because if I feel like God sends me on assignments, man, then what is an assignment? Assignment means you got to go in. You got to go in. And that's what I mean when I say, if God, if you go into a house, right? God opens a door for you to go into a house, a building, or whatever. In some of those rooms, some rooms are empty. Some rooms are full of something that you don't need, right? Some rooms are dark. You have to turn the light on, and some of them you have to put a light bulb in order to turn the light on. What am I saying here? Life happens no matter where you go. And what we will do is we will want God to bless us, or we will receive a blessing and think there should never be any testing.
Mm-hmm.
And God is not only testing you in this elevation, He's testing others as well. Nothing is ever just about you, but everything in your life is about you, which is what I mean. Run your race. You don't have to take off because the gun fires. It's not for everybody. It's not that kind of marathon. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Brandon.
Mom, you reminded me yes of you said you don't have to run when the gun fires. I was out working again, and yesterday again I was pulling up at different place. You know, it's Memphis, different place, and as I'm pulling up, green Hummer rides past, gets to the end of the street, and beyond, right behind the fence, and all I hear is pow 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 pow. I looked around the corner. I saw them at the light. I went back in the gate. I went back in the gate and got to work. Um, I was just like, oh, okay, this is just because I'm in the same general neighborhood, but it was a different place, and I was like, oh, okay, this is everyday thing around here. You know, everyone that I
Mm.
saw around kind of stopped for a second, looked, you know, and then everybody just went right back to normal. So I was like, okay, cool. But that just reminded me. I do want to say I'm reminded of the quote that life is only 10% what happens to you, only
Mm.
10% the external stressors, as it spoke about in this book, and the other 90% is your reaction or response to it. Now, what's the difference between a reaction, and a response? A reaction is something that you didn't control. It was something that was um, a impulse in a sense. And Ali Bounce, we're reading Daily Motivations for African American Success. It's an older book, I think, published in like 1992. So every morning we come on here. I think she got on late. Every morning we come on here and we read a passage from Daily Motivations for Success, and it comes with a quote, a passage, and an affirmation at the end. And so we do this every single morning at 7 a.m. Central Time. So feel free to join in with us and give us. We call it the barbecue. So you're invited to the barbecue for sure. But um, a reaction is something that's impulsive, something that wasn't thought about, something that wasn't planned, something that wasn't intentional, but rather something that came about because of something external that happened, right? So what this is allowing a reaction is allowing is letting go of the wheel, letting go of the reins, and letting whatever external stressors control what's going on internally with you. Whereas a response, remember I said you either react or respond. Whereas a response is an intentional thing, and you can have both, right? Because we're only human. So like if something happens, you have a right. If somebody slaps you in the face out of the blue, you have a right to be angry. You have a right, right? You have a right to be angry. It's understandable to have a reaction, right? You might even slap them back. That's a reaction. You see what I'm saying? Equal and opposite reaction. But a response, a response would be something that was intentional, something that you had an intended end or an intended outcome that benefited you, right? Because if you slap them back, what benefit is that to you? There is some benefit, right? But would it be better to do something else? For example, my mother always told me when I would have these run-ins with the police. I wasn't doing anything crazy. Okay, so let's, it's just I have a mouth basically, and I don't respond well to um, people who have grandeur about their perceived position
Position.
of authority, right? Like if you ain't got my mom, my dad, you really don't have any authority over me. And I expressed that openly, and that didn't always uh, put me in the good graces of the police in my encounters. My mother said something. She said, "Well, you don't want to be dead right." And there were a lot of situations where I could have been dead right, right? And so, what would be to stand on my 10 toes right there, and then God forbid something happened to me, or to do, and that'd be a reaction. And I did have a couple situations where I reacted. Um, but the better one was to respond and say, no, let me get your badge number. Let's go through this whole process. Let you do whatever you do. And because I know the law doesn't mean that I have to tell you that I know the law, right? That I know that you're doing wrong, or I know you should know that you're doing wrong. And after this, I'm gonna just sue the city. I'm gonna just sue the county, and I'm gonna get my millions of dollars. And we going that would benefit me more than me,
That
having
might planning your funeral because you have these stretch marks about the you stretching things out of proportion.
right,
No
right,
matter the fact that you are righteously right. You are right to do so because in most, I think all cases, like they're just profiling, right?
right, right, right.
DWB. You just they pulled you over because you're driving black. Got to
No,
check
you
you out,
remember
right?
I literally had that situation happen. I remember it's back when I had Abraham. I had Abraham Lincoln, I had my MKS,
Amazing. Yeah.
and I was driving, and a police pulled me over, and I'm like, "Why
Whose
did you pull
car is
me over?"
this?
The first question that man, I almost called him a saltine. The first thing this guy asked me is, "Whose car is this?" And y'all want me to tell you? Can I be honest with y'all? What I said to him? I said, "Sir, would you like me to zip down my pants and ask me whose that is too? You might be surprised." And he was like, he was he was like livid. I'm like, "No, sir, you don't come and ask me whose car is this. You have no reason to ask me that. That's like that's a person that like that's a you're making an assumption of me because I'm young and I'm driving a nice car, So those situations of just having a smart mouth where I could have been like, "Sir, am I being detained or am I free to go?" And they have to answer this question. Do you have a rightful reason to pull me over, or am I suspected of committing a crime, or are you unlawfully detaining me? Right? And so there's a way to go about these things where I can respond, whereas I was just pissed off because I was already late to where I was going, and he pulls me over with some foolishness. So all that to say is, what's the difference between a response and a reaction? Right? A reaction can often you can't control the outcome. you're playing Russian roulette. You're playing Russian roulette, and you don't know if it's blanks in the gun or not. You don't know if the gun is going to jam or not. You don't know if it's going to backfire or not. But with the response, and we can't be perfect in this, but with the response, you can control the outcome to some degree. So, what's your intrusion level? How much do you allow external things to corrupt or to displace internal matters, right? And so, and this is a self control thing, right? This is a self control thing. Are you stretching your stressors? Because yes, everyone's gonna have some external stressors, but how they affect us is up to us. I read a book. This is one of my favorite books called The Four Agreements. And the Four Agreements says one of the agreements is to never take anything personally, especially when it comes from someone else. People oftentimes try to exchange emotional poison with you. What do I mean by that? If I insult you, you insult me. And when I insulted you, I gave you some emotional poison. I was trying to give it to you. You picked it up.
And they
Felt,
want a reaction
and they want to
because
react.
they want to stretch things out of proportion. And sometimes they don't even know that
Right.
that's what they want to do. It's become their way of living. So when you're
Right.
right, sorry to mention, but they want an emotional reaction from you.
Right.
And
And
but
why
no,
do they
but
want?
start responding and see how things change. Go ahead.
Oh man. Yeah, and because especially sometimes we've been brought up and raised um
Chaos
within hmm?
and chaos.
Yeah, we've been raised, some people have been raised in chaos, raised in dysfunctional families, raised in situations where they're yelling and fighting, and there's turmoil and turbulence throughout the household every single day. So when they go out and they see other people, they interact with them the way that they feel inside. And that's why this book said, don't take anything personally. Don't take anything personally.
Brandon's gotten stuck over there. All right, I'm gonna pick it up here because I Brandon's stuck on my end, so I hope we're not double talking here. I'm going to go to
There we
this
go.
part. Go there we go. Go ahead, Brandon. You was
Okay,
talking about
sorry. It went,
how we were raised. That's okay. How we were raised in chaos and things like that, and subconsciously, you guys, we seek. It sounds crazy, but there are things about you that you don't even want to be things about you, but you are living through those things. They become who you are. You sometimes the things you want are not even the things that you want, because the person you've become, you've based it on the things that, like we were talking about yesterday. Start Be on the phone with someone and you start whispering. They start whispering, right? There are things that we bring forth that we have no idea of, right? And I've said this here, we're hardwired to seek life for ourselves outwardly. We're hardwired for that. And you
mhm.
do it with the wires that you were given. And if you don't learn to just rip the wires out, call an electrician, be the electrician, rip them out and rewire your life with the right wires, with those. Because sometimes, and Brandon, you was talking, I'm turning this back over to you. You were talking,
Mhm.
for some reason, I thought about us as women, how some of us, a lot of us, we had or have such a distorted mindset when it comes to the kind of man that we want and looking for. And sometimes our reactive emotions are attracted to cause us to be attracted to the wrong man. And we are attracted to similar people that come from maybe the same pain in some kind of way that we've experienced as a childhood, which is why it's so important to heal before you try to become one with somebody. Tell somebody, no, I ain't ready to be one, because I'm a half right now. I'm
Mhm.
coming to one. I'm a half. But we are hardwired. We have those hardwired instincts to seek the meaning of life outside of ourselves and sometimes through others. through others. So over to you, Brandon. I have something that I wanted to share, and I'm going to find it here while you are talking. While you go ahead and take it over.
Oh, I wanted to finish about the emotional trading emotional poison. So when
Hmm.
someone wants an emotional reaction out of you, or they're feeding off of an emotional reaction, it only goes to further prove the point that inside of them. It only goes to further manifest how they feel inside. Usually,
Hmm.
people want to manifest how they feel inside externally. So for people that allow external stressors to disrupt them internally, they internally go and disrupt other people. They become the external stressor for other people.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So
Yes.
now they feel a certain type of way, and they're going to trade that emotional poison with you. And so it's like you insult me, and then if I insult you back, then I've picked it up. I've let it fester for a quick second, and I've reacted, and I've given you something more than what you gave me. So like you never try to go back with a lesser insult, right? It's like, oh, you talked about me, well, I'm gonna talk about your mama. You talked about their mama, they talk about your whole family. You know, um, they talk about your family, you talk about their race, and now so you guys are escalating the situation, and to the point to where you might not even remember what you were originally arguing about because they pissed you off so much in the midst of the argument. So you've traded emotional poison, and
Mm.
and now both of you are out of pocket, right? Whereas if you would have responded, I've been in situations, I mean, even yesterday, um, where something off-putting has happened, and I could have taken the bait, right? I could take the bait, but I responded. I didn't react. I didn't um, raise my voice. I said, "Hey, do you realize, you know, how you said that? Are you okay?" Just that question right there changes the emotional poison to being, "Oh, this. I just said. I just tried to slight this person, and they asked me if I'm okay.
Yep.
Damn, they care about me. Like,
Yep.
dang, what's going on?" Or like, when I was younger, I remember I was in a parking garage, and this young man pulled a gun out on me. Same car. That's why, same car. He wanted to, I think he wanted my car and wanted some money. He pulled a gun on me, and I just looked at him like, bruh, bro, I'm
You were
going
in
home.
Atlanta. Were you here in
I was
Atlanta?
in
What
Memphis.
was
I
it?
was in
It
Memphis.
was
No, the
Memphis.
one in
Okay.
the one in Atlanta was a different
Okay. You were
one.
okay. You were walking. You were walking in
Yeah,
the one in Atlanta. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. And but yeah. And so I was like, bruh, like, what are you doing? Like I looked at him like I knew him forever. I was like, it's me. And I looked at him, so I guess in a certain way, to where he looked at me like, do I know you? I was like, man, what you robbing me for? Like, what you want from me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like you. Are you okay? What's going on in your life, man? Like, what? And so I started asking questions. What's got you out of pocket like this? I mean, why you out here like you about to mess up two people life? Because I ain't going and you might not be going. What's going on? And so by the end of it, he put the gun down, and we sitting on the stairs in the parking garage, chopping it up, talking about what his situation is, why he's trying to get some money, and we, you know, ended up parting ways. I think I even gave him my number or something. You know what I mean? And he was like, "Man, I'm sorry about that." Dapped me up, and I went about my way. And I was on the way home. I remember being on the way home and just like laughing, like, man, this fool could have killed me. You know what I mean? But you could tell like he was young, he was kind of shaky with the gun, and I was just like, he ain't no killer. Come on.
Mm.
But if I'd have been like, you ain't gonna take this, you got the wrong one today. Da, 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 pow. They'll shoot you because they scared, right? So let's not make stress. Let's not stretch our stressors. Let's stretch our successes. How about that? Once we're building these positive character traits and developing our character, developing and becoming more aware of who we are internally, the external won't affect us as much. And once we develop these tools and these character traits, we can stretch those out. Let's stretch our internal character that we've been working on. Let's stretch those four agreements out. Mom, if you would look up the four agreements, if you will. There's
The book of knowledge, book love.
it's
Okay,
called the four agreements.
the
Then
four
the book of
agreements.
knowledge came
Okay,
later in the mastery of self and all that.
okay.
But be impeccable with your speech, right? That's a part of it. Don't take things personally, right?
Your word, personality, do your best, and assumptions.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
Don't make assumptions. Always do
Don't
your
make
best.
assumptions.
Be impeccable with your word, right? And what was the last one? I'm missing one more.
Oh, sorry. Let me go back. Your word, personality. Yeah, the four agreements. So it's your word. Let me pull this up here. Personality, assumption, and do your best. Let's see what it
Personality. What's
says.
that one? That there's something to that one.
Yeah, let me
It's
go
just
back here.
personality.
Don't take any. I'm sorry. Personally, don't take anything personally. I had to
That
make
was
it
it.
big, you guys.
Okay, that was it. I mentioned that one earlier.
Yeah.
Don't take anything personally. Be impeccable with your word. So try to keep your word. Anybody that knows me, especially like my close friends, I hate missing my word. Right. So
So, Brandon, don't take anything personally. Nothing others do
start
is
responding instead
because
of
of
reacting
you.
was reading that book. So I don't know if you guys. Mhm,
No,
mhm.
I was going to read that one for you if you wanted to. On the personally, don't, I can read them all if you
Yeah,
want me to. Don't, they're
yeah. Go
very
ahead.
short. Don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a result of their own dream of perception of their rules, right? Of their rules. We all make rules about how things should be, but when you are in tune, immune to the options and I'm sorry, y'all. This is very actions of others. You won't be the victim of needless suffering. So you will not be the victim of their needless suffering or the
That
needless
part, Mom.
suffering.
That part right there. The needless suffering.
Suffering.
Are you
Okay.
suffering needlessly? That's what this passage was about. Are you stretching your stresses more and out of proportion than what they already were? Are you making the problems bigger than they are? That's stretching your stressors. By stretching your successes is by doing character development and stretching that out. Find excuses to practice the character tools that you've built. Anything that you've learned from this book, other self-development books, or through prayer, meditation, whatever, whichever way that you've learned it, conversations with others, whatever you've learned, go out into the world and look for places to practice this.
Practice.
Right?
That's
You've
good,
been
Brandon. Say that again.
when
Say
you
that.
learn things, when you add uh tools to your belt, right? Add skills to your skill set about internal ones. I'm talking about patience, perseverance, dedication, truthfulness and honesty, impeccability or integrity. Once you start to develop these tools, go out into the world and practice. Sharpen those tools. Find excuses. Somebody's, has the potential to piss you off. Be patient with them. Not for them, for you. This is your practice. Someone cuts you off in the road, in the street, instead of flipping them the bird. So you know what? They probably rushing somewhere. They might have an emergency. You know, and
Maybe it probably, or maybe I've started to do this, Brandon, because I will mistakenly pull over in front of somebody or something, and so I want that person to give me the grace where I really didn't see them, right? Just had a moment. And it could be that with some others. And if it's
right,
not that, make it that, like, oh, well, because what can you do? They've already pulled over in front of you. Now it's in the past.
right, right, and that's
How can your reaction to it make the future any better or change anything?
exactly these little moments of depression and anxiety come from us not being present, right? So, like you said, Mom, they've already done it. They've already pulled over on you, and now you're making the next moment, the present moment, you're corrupting it by spitting, explicitives or being upset about it or letting it rouse you up and decreasing your own life by making your heart beat faster. You only got so many heartbeats. So you've now corrupted the present moment based on something that happened in the past. Isn't that crazy that we've allowed?
Yeah.
And the person who just cut you off don't know the difference. You're not affecting them. They didn't
Don't
even
know
look in the
you.
they didn't even look in the rear mirror to
Yeah.
see who they cut off. So it's not about them. It's about you. Now you're the person that's trying to trade that emotional poison. They've offended you. So now you pull up and go beside them, flipping the bird, yelling all this stuff. That's because you want to give them what they gave you, what you picked up, as if it was their fault. No, it's your fault. You are in control of how you feel. And how you feel is magnetic. What you think is electric. How you feel is magnetic. That's why when you walk around, and this is scientifically proven, every human being has an electromagnetic field. How do you think the compasses work? We're made of the same thing that's in the dirt, the earth. It has an electromagnetic field because the properties inside of it, right? From the organic, inorganic, the metals and all these things create an electromagnetic field. Your mind is electric. Your heart is magnetic. So what you put out mentally, you're affecting the world. You're affecting
Mhm.
what you're putting things out, and what you feel about it is magnetic. You're drawing things closer. So you will see the outside world how you feel inside. So how can you better control how you feel? If somebody insults you and it makes you feel bad, it wasn't their insult that made you feel bad. It was your reaction to it. It was your acceptance of it. Have you ever seen water roll off of the back of a duck? I,
Here we go. All right. I was able to pull these agreements up so that I can see them, you guys, while Brandon is frozen again. We're going to fix that.
you know, man,
Um,
we pay too much for this internet.
I know it's crazy. If you don't mind, it's 7:52. I want to read these, the four agreements that you brought
Oh
up. I
yeah,
was able to pull them up to where I
for
got
sure.
them now. Okay, so be impeccable with your word. That's number one, or one of them. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using words to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word to offer love. Never use it to cause fear or pain in another or yourself. Um, I'll do the personally again. Don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a result of their own dream or perception of their rules. We all make rules about how things should be, but when you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. And then the assumptions. Okay, let me get it pulled up. Don't make assumptions. Find the quiet courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. And I'm going to add what you really want and need. And how do you want it and how do you need it? I'm adding that. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can transform your life. All right. Always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self judgment, self abuse, and regret. Brandon, that one reminds me of when you say, if you wake up 50% one day, just give 50%. Don't try to
Hmm.
beat yourself and do what the 100%.
Give
So these are
100%
good.
of 50%, right?
Right, right. And I'll share these out there with you guys. I'll put it on in the messages here on Facebook. So or you could just look them up, Google the four agreements. If you know, just go ahead and look them up. But yeah, Brandon, thank you for sharing that, bringing that, because that's kind of an outline of how to not stretch your problems out of proportion, right? The
Yeah.
affirmation, don't stretch your problems out of proportion. So maybe you can write these four agreements down and just kind of keep them posted somewhere, you guys, because Brandon, what you said about whatever happened yesterday, and you like, hey, did you realize how you said that? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Man, y'all, that's powerful. That's that. And it, some people may hear that's weak, but that is taking control over how you are going to feel the next minute. the future minute.
Right. Right.
That's like, I'm healthy. I know how to respond. I'm not going to react. Imagine I'm sitting here drinking this coffee and Brandon has a cup of tea. And he wants to come over here and put his tea in my coffee. Come on. Come on. My cup ain't going to run it over with your tea and my coffee. I put coffee in here for a reason. I want to drink coffee. So I'm going to enjoy my coffee. So I'm putting positive things in my life. You can't come over here and put that stuff in here. Now we can talk about it. We can have a good conversation. Like one of the agreements, I can listen to what you want and what you need and help you get it. But you ain't gonna try to just come up here and wreck the day with this foolishness. You just ain't. And don't let people do that. And don't feel like you're weak because you say, "Hey, what's going on? Do we really
Right.
want to go here?" Because a mountain has a mountain has been built just from a little from just a little thing and another little thing, and then the bridge between people are so long, so wide. Relationship between what is said and not meant, but what is meant and not said, relationships are lost. And so we don't say the things that we feel and want to say because we don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want to be vulnerable, and that's stretching your problems out of proportion. My last message would be remind people: be quiet, talk a little bit less, especially about your problems.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Don't
Because you
feed
make them
them.
bigger. You make them
Yeah,
bigger.
you make them bigger. Don't feed
You're
them.
feeding them. Let me tell this one story too about uh
Remind the people, if we go out on Instagram, they can just hop on over to YouTube.
oh
Okay.
yeah, if you listen for my people on IG, I know this is about to probably cut off in like 3 or 4 minutes because they only let us be on for an hour. But go to YouTube, the letter N this season podcast. Y'all can see it right above my mother's head. Type it in like that, or she posted it right there in this season podcast. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Um, uh, there's a hadith or a saying of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that if you're there, there was a man on a camel, right? And a shaitan or not a shaitan, he fell off the camel, right? And let's say that an evil spirit pushed him off, right? Just to laugh at him. And when he falls off the camel, he curses and like curses life and the camel and makes it everybody else's fault. And or even says something like, "Oh, this must be the devil," right? This must be the devil. And the devils laugh. The devils around laugh, and they become bigger. Right? I'm giving a synopsis or paraphrasing. But if the man would have just said Alhamdulillah or like all praise be to God, you know, like that's just what God wanted to happen. It's nothing. Then those devils get smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think that's a parable to the rest of life. When something bad happens to you, you should say, man, it's all good. Like you should still have a positive disposition about your life because you're going through something. You're not just sitting there. You're not stagnant. If you sit there and say, oh man, woe is me. This is so horrible. My life is crazy. Then you're becoming stagnant and you're further, yourself, right? So keep it pushing, stay positive, speak about your successes, stretch your successes, not your stresses. Stretch your successes and not your stresses. And that's really all I have today. I do want to mention something. Um, like I said, y'all, like my mother said, this book follows us around and shows up in places that we didn't expect. Allie Bounce said that I think yesterday she posted about the 4 agreements in Spanish. She was like, I'm freaked out. I was reading the comments. She's like, I'm freaked out. I had to go through a bunch of comments because I got behind a little bit with my sketchy Wi-Fi. But I just wanted to express how when we come together, like I said, it's electromagnetic. You're thinking something, you feel a certain way about it, and it comes to you. Remember when you were a kid, you learned a new word and the definition of a word, and all of a sudden you heard that word everywhere, as if people were speaking a new language. Like, oh, I just learned this word and now it's popping up everywhere. Or you think about, something that you want, or a movie or a book or a car that you saw. Oh man, I saw that new Cybertruck and now I see them everywhere. That's because you're bringing that to yourself, right? You're co-creating your reality. There's a part of your free will that you are using to bring and manifest things that you are feeling. So be careful. Be careful on what you allow yourself to feel, and realize that you have agency over how you feel. It's not what other people do. It's not the external stressors. That's just 10% of it. To get back to what I said in the beginning, that's just 10% of it. The other 90% is how you feel about it, what you make of it, and how you respond or react to it. So that's all I got for y'all today. I appreciate y'all so much. Mom, anything else?
Brandon, I put this out there, but I want to read it. People who are emotionally healthy are in control of their thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. They're able to cope with life's challenges. They keep problems, thoughts in perspective. They keep moving. All right. So that's one of the
Mm.
banners I had in the already said in here from probably a previous show, but I was looking for something else. But that one is deep. So there you go, you guys. There you go. And we can bring it to a close so that we don't lose our Instagram family.
All right. Thanks everyone that tuned in today. All my friends and family and like people I've met over the course of years, man. I really appreciate y'all. Some of y'all I've known for a long time, some for a short time. But thank y'all for showing up and rocking with us. Um, we're gonna read this and get out of here. So on this June 12th, not July 12th, June 12th. Our title was Stretch Marks. Stretch Marks. And the quote comes and says, "A problem not worth praying about is not worth worrying about." And that's from A.Z. Taylor Morton, the first African American treasurer of the United States. A problem not worth praying about is not worth worrying about. And the affirmation that we read 3 times, one for me, one for you, and one for the person that you invited to the barbecue. Appreciate y'all if you are inviting people, is don't stretch your problems out of proportion. Don't stretch your problems out of proportion. And last time, say it out loud. If you said it internally, if you said it out loud last time, say it internally this time.
Don't stretch your problems out of proportion. All right. Y'all be great. We're going to end it there and we're going to work on this internet here. So y'all be great. Thank y'all for rocking with us. See you tomorrow, same time. Remember, if you don't see us on Facebook, always go and to check us out on YouTube because God willing, we're going to be there. All right. Peace.
All right. Y'all take it easy.